Hi, I'm James and welcome back to part 2 of the review featuring the character generation system of Twilight 2000. This time we're going to look at the life path method, which is the more involved of the two but does let you tailor the character a little bit more. So without further ado, let's see what it says. So we're starting with, this is working from the flowchart, with a fresh and inexperienced young person, 18 years old. Start with a coolness under fire rating of D. Okay, I know that's going to change, but what else have we got? Choose your nationality. Well, I'm going to keep it simple. I'll keep it as American, just to keep it simple. So that means speciality wise, the language I speak is English, so I'm just going to jot that one in. Okay, so determine your attributes. Start with a base of C in all four, and I can take 3 increases of 1 step each. And I can decrease one from a C to a D to increase one by a further step. So if they're all starting at C, I'm going to take 1 increase in intelligence, 1 increase in empathy, and 1 increase in agility. So that's what I'm going to start off with. So first step then is to look at the childhood the character has. So you roll 6-sided dice to see what type of childhood. I've got a 4. So was an intellectual. I'm going to make a note of this. So I now get 2 skills. I can choose tech, medical aid and persuasion. Let's have a look. I think we'll have the medical aid, so I'm going to increase that to a D. Now I think there's a slight misprint there where persuasion should be manipulation, so I'm going to put that into there as a D as well. And I also get a speciality, which is rolled on a 6-sided dice again. So let's see what speciality I end up with. 6. So for intellectual I get musician. Okay, it's an interesting touch. So that's my childhood then. So we now move into the next term. What am I going to do? Well, considering we've got the intellectual background, excuse me, flipping through the book, I'm going to choose education, I think, as my first career path. It seems to fit in quite nicely. So I've got the option of liberal arts or sciences. I think liberal arts is probably more likely, because with the music, and I can see him going down that side of things. So I need an intelligence and empathy of C+, which I've got in both cases, and I get 2 skills. I get recon and persuasion. So recon now goes up, starts at D, and manipulation now goes to a C. Now at this point I have to make a skill roll on one of those skills. Now the obvious one to do is going to be manipulation. So if I use an 8-sided dice for the skill and a 10-sided dice for the ability, and I need to roll a 6 or more on either dice. If I get a 10 or more, then that actually is 2 successes. So let's see if I get a success, and I've got an 8, so I have succeeded. So that now means I get an extra speciality. Let's see what I get. 1. I get historian. Okay. I just wonder sometimes whether these might be better rather than completely random, being at least some choice in the matter, but that's a personal sort of thought. So that's the end of the first term. So having done that, I move on to the next step, which is aging my character. So I age them by D6 years. So I spent 5 years in education. Make a note of that down here. And you may be able to hear the cat in the background there. Cat is quite keen on role playing by the sound of it sometimes. He definitely wants to get involved when I get the wargaming figures out. So we normally would roll at this point to see if our character ages. That doesn't apply in the first term. It's impossible to roll less than 1 on a 6-sided dice. So what we are going to do, however, is roll an 8-sided dice to see if the war breaks out. And first step is to find the 8-sided dice. Let's get rid of this. 4. So the war hasn't broken out. So I can now go back and choose another career. I think what we'll look at going into next is spending another term in liberal arts, I think. So again, I get the 2 skill increases. And I can choose recon and persuasion, or I can put 2 into the same one. I'm actually going to increase both by 1. So it becomes a C, that becomes a B. And let's see if I get a speciality. This time I'm going to use the manipulation one again, so it's 2 dice. I've only got the one handy, 5, so I haven't succeeded on that one, and a 6, so I have succeeded. So my new speciality is a 4, which is musician, which I've already got, so I'm allowed to re-roll. 6, counsellor. Okay, this wasn't the way I was originally planning the character. Okay, so we've got counsellor. So let's see if our character ages, and this time they're going to age on a 1. So no, they don't age. Let's see if the war breaks out. And just check that. It's got to be lower than the number of terms. So no, war hasn't broken out. So third career that I'm going to change now to become a professor. Oh, sorry, I should have aged my character. And they've aged another 4 years, so they're now 27. So let's become a professor. Now the entry requirements for that are 2 terms in education in liberal arts, which I've got, and an intelligence of B+. So I've got both those. So I get the 2 skills again, which are recon and persuasion. So I'll up both by 1 again. And let's see if I achieve the speciality. So I've now got the 12-sided dice and the 10-sided dice for the manipulation of A and the empathy of B. And let's have a look. That's 3 successes. Yeah, I've definitely managed that one. And let's see what I pick up as a skill. As a 3 I get, it's interesting, scientist. Despite not having any science background whatsoever. Okay, fair enough. So we've got those then. So time to see if I age. No, haven't aged. Has the war broken out? No. So what am I going to do next? I think I'm going to stay, age again, I keep forgetting that. So he's now 31. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is stay a professor. And let's see what happens this term. So I get the 2 skill levels. In fact, no, I'm not going to stay as a professor because I think that's going to create an interesting rule problem where I can't actually take the attribute increases. So what shall we do? It doesn't seem appropriate to put him into the military. Let's have a look. Let's go for something slightly different. He's going to go into intelligence as an agent. That's probably the closest to what I'm looking for with that. What I'm looking for was really an analyst, so I may create a new background for that in the future. So the entry requirements are intelligence of B and 1 term in education. So the options are ranged combat, recon and persuasion. Okay, well, I'll take the recon up to A, and I'm going to have to take the level of ranged combat because there's nothing else that I can actually take with that. So let's see how I do. Again, it's going to be a 12 and a 10-sided for the skill roll. So I could use this on either recon or manipulation, and yeah, that's definitely succeeded with another 3 successes. So what speciality do I get? A 3. Okay, he gets investigator. That ties in nicely. Okay, so do we age? Let's have a look. So we've now got 4 terms, so it's a 50-50 chance. 1 to 3. No, he still hasn't aged. He always keeps himself fit, this guy. And does the war break out? No, the war doesn't break out again. Okay. So I'm going to do something slightly outlandish now. Now he's got that bit of time as an investigator. He's going to transfer over to military intelligence, which is the combat support template, for which I need an intelligence of B, and we're going to go for a commission. It needs an intelligence of B, no D statistic, and at least 1 term in educational for the functional area. So it talks about for the functional area. Okay, sorry, requirements for the functional area. So I've got the requirement I need for that. So I start now as a lieutenant. Let's make a note of that. And again, I've forgotten the aging. So I'm now 34. So he starts as a lieutenant, has to take from ranged combat, command and persuasion. Well, there is a requirement in the military that you must take 1 ranged combat in your first term, and I'll take 1 level of command. So let's see how he does. Now the military works slightly differently for the roles. I'm going to use the option now of the manipulation, so it's a 10-sided and a 12-sided because I've still not changed those, and a 10 and a 4, so yeah, I've succeeded, so I get promoted. So the character is now a captain. Let's do the aging while I remember it. So I have aged by another 3 years, so he's now 37. And let's see what happens for the extra skill. I can choose the officer or the combat support arm, and I'm going to go for the combat support, and I've got a 3, which is communications. And on top of that, my coolness under fire, does that change? I'm just remembering. Does, yeah, increase my coolness under fire 1 step, so it goes up to a C. So let's see what happens. Does the character age? Yes, they have actually aged. So I've now got to lower an attribute by 1, and I'm going to lower the which one am I going to lower? I want to keep in the career, so let's just check. So I need intelligence B plus and no D's. So I'm going to lower the agility down to a C, and let's see if the war breaks out. No, it still doesn't break out. So I'm going to stay in military intelligence. So 2 skills, remembering I can choose them from either column, so I have the option of looking at the combat support, which includes recon, survival and tech. That gives recon's obviously not going to much use. The officer of ranged combat, command and persuasion. I'll take command actually, since he's going up the chain promotion wise. There's 1, and we'll take a level in tech, I think, just so I've got something in that. Let's see if he succeeds in his roll for the term. Yeah, oh, definitely succeeds with that one, with 3 more successes. So he's promoted again. He's now a major. And what speciality skill does he pick up this time? So I've got the option of rolling as either an officer or on the basic one. I think I'll go for on the combat support this time, and I get a 1, which is intelligence. Unlike the archetype one, I'm not going to go into what each of these means. It's worth taking your time and looking those up later on. So we've got all of those. So, does he age? Yes. It's getting a bit harder now, so I'm going to lower the empathy to a C. He's starting to get old and crusty in his ways, I think. And let's see if let's age him. So aged by another 3 years. He's now 40. Interesting. I wonder what the rules do if you actually hit the point where you're going to be that old that you should be retiring. Does the war break out? Yes, the war finally breaks out. So we move now to the at war term, which works slightly differently. So again, there's 2 skills increased, but this time they can only be increased by 1 each. I'll do that in a second. It adds automatically 3 years, so I'm now 43. So let's have a look at the at war term. There is a bit of page flipping. I think what I'll probably do at some point is print out the relevant pages and just have them handy. So, military at war. Let's have a look what we've got. So increase any of the 2 skills by 1 step each. So I think it's time to start thinking a little bit more about keeping him alive, because that's what we're likely looking at there. So I think we're going to take survival. I'll take 1 level in that, and I've got another 1 which I'll take in. So look, we've got recon, survival, or tech. I think we'll up the tech to a C. So we've done that. Now the at war one is a slightly different table for speciality. So let's have a look. Okay, let's see if I actually increase a skill. There's no promotion on this one, which seems a bit odd. Definitely increased the skill there with 4 successes. So 6-sided dice to see what one I've got, and I get rifleman. Okay, so we've done the next step, adding the age. So determine your hit capacity and stress capacity. So let's put the skill dice in. So we've got 8s in there, 10, and 8. So we've got an A. That's quite nice. I'm getting quite used to the concept of the different dice for the different skill levels. Initially, I've got to be honest, my first thought was, why have they bothered? Wouldn't it just make sense of you to use the numbers? But it's not exactly a deal breaker. It's nice and simple. So, working out the damage and stress then. So I did get this wrong in the previous video. What you do is use the average of half of the figures. So the strength and agility are both D8, so they're both 4s, so the average is 4. So 4 boxes. And for stress, it's an average of 5 and 4, which is 4.5, which rounds up to 5. So he's better coping with it in a mental sense than a physical. Okay. So, determine unit morale, because I'm just generating a single character. That's not going to be a big one. What's his big dream? I think it's going to be getting his unit home. Okay, determine the moral code. Okay, I'm going to give him slightly dubious one in that the unit comes first. That might lead to some very interesting moral choices as we play the game. Choose a buddy. Well, as yet we haven't got those to generate, so that isn't something we need to worry about yet. Excuse me. Choose your big dream. Sorry, did the wrong way around there. Decide how you met the other player characters. Okay. As he's probably in the intelligence side of things, what I'm going to do is, we'll have him very much, excuse me, so we'll have him very much as the intelligence at Brigade HQ. When he's overrun, these were the survivors. Playing the 5th Infantry Division in Calais, it's fairly typical there. So decide your appearance. Okay, so I need to think about that. Put a couple of things in there which I meant to fill in earlier. So appearance. What we'll have him play on the sort of the old man image, and we'll have him always has an empty pipe in his mouth. Okay, choose a name and a nickname. Let's have a look. We're going to go for do what I usually do for this, which is pick a book or two at random. So we've got Stephen Seymour. Our nickname is going to be pretty easy. It's going to be Prof. Okay. So. Okay, so pick my gear given from the final career term before the at-war term. So I've got the option being an officer to which column I use, which is quite useful. So let's have a look at the options. The officer is going to start. Right, so where are we? I thought it was on the chart there. It's not going to make any difference because they both come under the military. The chart is actually on the at-war term. So, the at-war term, here we go. Okay, no it isn't, my apologies. Okay, so, annoyingly at the minute it's got the C page XX. It is listed under the military, it was on the next page. So I've got the option of going for an officer or for the combat support. I think I'm going to go with the officer one. So I start with a pistol or a submachine gun. We're going to go for a fairly typical loadout. We'll have the M9 pistol. I'm not going to put the stats in like I did on the previous one. That's just you've seen how that works. So D6 reloads, and I've got 2. So M9 mag. M9 mag. Okay, a flak jacket. Been some discussion on the discussion group as to how this works, and it comes into the gear. In fact, I ought to make a note of how many I can carry because I can only carry 8 items. So let's take the extra ones out so I don't accidentally put kit in there. Easy enough to do in the game by accident. So that gives me armour of 1 on the torso. What else do I get? In fact, I'm reading off the wrong column, but fortunately it was still there. So I get a Manpack radio and night vision goggles. I think we'll have the night vision goggles. Flagship, we've got knife or D6 hand grenades. Well, I'm going to go for the D6 grenades, and I've got 3. So I'm going to take a smoke grenade. You can find the statistics I put together for that. It mentions smoke in the rules, but I've put the statistics for it on the web page, which you'll find a link in the description. I'll take another smoke, and then I'll take a fragmentation. So I'll just put those down there. Ready. And I get a personal med kit. Okay. So it says in addition to that I get D6 rations of food. So I've got 5. I've got 5 MREs. Carry all those on me at the minute. D6 water. So I've got 5 water. Again, I'll carry all those on me at the minute because I've got plenty of space. And I've also then got 2d6 empty shell casings, which are used as currency. And I've got 8. So let's make a note of that. Cash 8. And I've realised what I haven't been doing is increasing the combat coolness under fire, which went up twice, not once. So that needs putting up again. So easy sort of things to miss. Is that right? So I went up once, twice, 3 times because I got the initial success there. So I've actually got coolness under fire of A. I think that might need some looking at. You're going to, the end result is you're only going to get senior officers with a high cool, or senior NCOs with a coolness under fire. Perhaps it's worth rolling that as a separate one so that you get the lower ranking characters been in the military a while with a high coolness under fire, and you also get officers then with a low coolness under fire. That might work well. I might have a play around with that one. Okay, so then pick any group gear. Well, obviously I'm not part of a group yet, so when I am, we'll look at that. And then it's also a D6 for the amount of radiation. I've picked up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't get a lot of luck with radiation on any of these. And I've got the backpack with nothing in it at the minute. So that's the character generated. No doubt I probably made a mistake or 2 in there. Hopefully I picked them all up. Just like the first one, let me know what you think, and I look forward to hearing from you.